Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome back to the Perfectly Imperfect Spiritual Podcast. I am Marta, your host, and this is a space where we explore spirituality, sensitivity, and self trust in a grounded human way, not from performance or pressure, but from lived experience, integration, and discernment. In today's episode, I want to talk about sensitivity and more specifically about why sensitivity is so often mistaken for fragility. This is a conversation for those of you who feel deeply, notice subtle shifts, and seem to pick up on more than what's been said. For those who have been told they are too sensitive, too emotional, or too much. And for anyone learning how to live with awareness without becoming overwhelmed by it. This episode isn't about fixing sensitivity, it's about understanding it, supporting it, and learning how to live with it well. So, wherever you're listening from, take a breath, settle into your body, and let's begin. I want you to know that sensitivity is not weakness, it's not instability, and it is not an inability to cope with life. Sensitivity is responsiveness, it's awareness, it's a system that notices. And when sensitivity is understood and supported, it becomes one of the most intelligent ways of being in the world. And I would like to make an important distinction early on. Not all sensitive people have experienced trauma. Some people are naturally perceptive, empathetic, and intuitively aware from a very young age, even in safe and supportive environments. Sensitivity itself is not always created by hardship. It is an innate way of perceiving for many people. At the same time, life experiences can shape how that sensitivity expresses. Some people are already picking up on the emotions of others, on atmosphere, on subtle shifts, or on the spirit world without realizing that's what's happening. For some, this sensitivity is emotional or empathic. For others, intuitive. And for some, genuinely mediumistic. You may be sensing presence, energy, or communication from the spirit world without having language for it yet. That doesn't mean anything is wrong, and it doesn't mean you're meant to do anything with it. It simply means awareness is present before orientation. When sensitivity opens before there is understanding or containment, the body and soul respond together. I remember as a child, my sensitivity expressed very strongly through my body. I experienced intense sensations in my chest, real physical heart pain, difficulty breathing, and moments of panic without understanding why. There were also periods where my body became seriously overwhelmed, including repeated hemorrhages that required urgent hospital care. At the time, none of this was understood. I didn't have language, support, or spiritual context for what my system was processing. I don't look back and see a body that was broken. I see a sensitive body and soul under immense strain, doing their best to survive and stay. The body speaks when the soul is carrying too much. There were also times, I remember, in childhood when I didn't want to be fully present in my body or environment, and my soul responded by leaving the body. This was astral travel. My soul temporarily left the physical body as a way to survive, to recalibrate, and to gain perspective beyond what was possible while remaining fully embodied in an overwhelming environment. I know this wasn't imagination. It was not something I chose consciously, and it was not something I was taught. It was a natural capacity of consciousness. Stepping out allowed me to see from a wider field, to receive understanding and awareness, and then to return. What matters is this: my soul didn't abandon the body, it left temporarily and it returned. And when it returned, it often brought clarity, insight, and knowing that helped me continue. Many sensitive people have experienced something similar, leaving the body, observing from elsewhere, returning with awareness. This isn't something to romanticize, it's something to understand with respect. Sensitive souls find ways to survive and integrate when physical life feels too intense. It's also very important to say this clearly. Sensitivity doesn't make someone better or worse. It doesn't make someone more evolved, more spiritual, or more advanced. It is simply a way of perceiving. Some people perceive emotionally, some intuitively, some mediumistically, some through logic, intellect, or grounded presence. There's no hierarchy here, only difference. While sensitivity is not caused by trauma, intense life experiences can deepen awareness. Loss, illness, instability, abusive relationships, or major disruption can stretch consciousness. Perception may widen, discernment may sharpen, and the ability to sense subtle information can become more refined. Not because suffering is required, and not because trauma is a spiritual requirement, but because awareness evolves through experience. What strengthens psychic or mediumistic perception is not the wound, it is the integration that follows. Without integration, heightened awareness can feel frightening. You may feel constantly open, affected by others, unsure what belongs to you and what doesn't. And that exhaustion is often mislabeled as fragility. It isn't. I call it overload. It is overload. Sensitivity becomes fragile only when it's asked to operate without safety, grounding, choice, or boundaries. A regulated, sensitive system is not delicate, it is discerning. It knows when to open and when to close. It can perceive without collapsing. That is maturity. I also want to name something important from my own experience. I've always perceived energy and communicated with the spirit world, and I also have a strong logical mind. Because of everything I'd lived through, that logical mind questioned my perceptions. I needed to know whether I was genuinely accessing psychic or mediumistic information or whether I was filling in gaps. So I tested it many, many times through grounded experience and especially through readings without visual cues, without background information, just voice and presence. My logical mind eventually had to accept the evidence. That's how trust grew for me. Not blind belief, but embodied knowing. So, if you are sensitive, intuitive, or open to mediumistic information from the spirit world, energetic hygiene is not optional. Just as we care for the physical body, we also need to care for our other layers of being. We have a physical body, an emotional body, a mental, and an energetic, or some people call it spiritual body. When one of these is neglected, imbalance shows up. For example, you might be spiritually open but ungrounded, physically strong but emotionally depleted, mentally active while energetically overwhelmed. Sensitivity thrives in balance, not extremes. Supporting yourself as a sensitive person means caring for all of you, all aspects of yourself, grounding into the body, regulating the nervous system, clearing and protecting your energy, processing emotions honestly, staying mentally present and discerning. And I want you to understand that energy protection isn't about fear, it's about responsibility. You don't need to be open to everything in order to be receptive. You're allowed to close, you're allowed to contain, you are allowed to choose. And then I've already mentioned a little bit, but grounding. Grounding is essential. Spiritual awareness without grounding can feel floaty or overwhelming. Grounding without spiritual awareness can feel heavy or disconnected. Thriving as a sensitive person means allowing both being here in your body, in your life, while also honoring your spiritual awareness. And this is where sensitivity becomes leadership. Leadership is not about being unaffected, it's about being regulated. A regulated, sensitive person creates safety through presence. They don't rush to resolve uncertainty. They don't panic when things are unclear. They allow life to unfold without abandoning themselves. And people feel that. Many sensitive people learned to harden themselves in order to cope. They mistook numbness for strength. They mistook endurance for maturity. But real strength for a sensitive system looks like self trust. It looks like boundaries. It looks like rest without guilt. It looks like knowing when to step back. And that isn't fragility, that's discernment. So instead of asking, how do I stop being so sensitive? A more supportive question might be, what does my sensitivity need in order to thrive? Before I close, I want to leave you with a gentle reflection. If sensitivity feels overwhelming right now, ask yourself not what's wrong with me, but what is out of balance here? Is it your body, your emotions, your mind, or your energy? What needs care rather than criticism. I've already mentioned it a couple of times during this episode, but let's repeat it one more time. Sensitivity is not fragility. It's awareness with depth, responsiveness with intelligence, presence with responsibility. And when it's met with care, grounding, balance, and energetic hygiene, it becomes one of the most trustworthy guides you have. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Take care of all of yourself. Okay, I am sending everyone so much love, and I will see you again soon. Goodbye.